discussion. On April 22nd, a historical event has happened. International online forum Global Crisis, There is a Way Out, where scientists and volunteers from all over the world voiced the truth about our climate, about what's happening to our planet, and the way out through creative society, through self-government, and all the benefits of the creative society have been voiced. And the very next day, we've seen the articles on the news with lit up red sky. So you can see that what was voiced is actually happening faster than even forecasted. And today with me, I have my co-host, Marina.
Hello, dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me introduce you to our guests. Today with us, Kasten, martial arts, health coach, and artist from the United States. And we honor to have John Bosse from Bulgaria. He's an award-winning journalist and filmmaker. Welcome, dear guest. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for joining. And definitely the forum has a very, very big impact on everybody. And we would like to hear your opinion. Why do you think this event was so important, and what we all can do in order to share the information about forum with everybody? So maybe, Steven, we can start with you.
Yeah, sure. Wow. I mean, there's so much to cover here. I know at first glance, I've, watched the other forums as well, but this one was definitely special because the knowledge is getting a little bit more and more clear as the forums go on, and the solutions are getting more clear too, which is really exciting. But for me, I know that at first you see the length of the forums and you're like, oh, whoa, like who has time to watch a 12-hour video? And it could be a little overwhelming, but the great thing for me was that I was able to, especially in like the past ones, I was able to kind of like see the topics of discussion that kind of really caught my interest and just kind of click on those and then go to the fast forward of those particular moments. And as I did that, I started seeing like, oh man, like there's so much valuable information here. Like maybe I just start from the beginning and just, watch it in chunks and, see what I can gather here. But the last one was just so exciting for me. And, it's really the reason why, obviously I'm on this call. Yeah, it was great, whether it was from, the global warming perspective or the global environmental crisis perspective to technology to imagining this way that we could restructure society that a lot of people have just not put that much energy into, so they don't realize it's possible. So it was exciting from multiple angles for me, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just imagining, but also seeing, because seeing is believing. And you can see that when people visually can see the short films showing how exactly their life might look like, that I think might give us a little bit more help with understanding what life in creative society might be like. And of course, we're happy to have Peter here with us. And we know that Peter is an award-winning journalist who covered conflicts in Yugoslavia in the 90s. And you know firsthand what consumerist format is, what the problems of conflicts, and they've never been solved up until these days. We have wars all over the world. So what's your perspective? What was the most interesting for you?
Thank you for inviting me. I was really amazed when I was, just zapping through my TikTok, and then I started to pick up the Creative Society, and the 22nd of April, I could hardly wait, to be honest. It was like, can you imagine you're a little child and very soon is your birthday, and you can hardly wait, to get all the message. So I did a big marathon on the 22nd until my eyes dropped. I think I watched something like 10 hours nonstop. And as soon as I woke up, I continued and I continued because I know there are only two alternatives. And it's sad to say for the people who criticize, this wonderful project, this global event, just stay at home and die, because there is no other way out if you have this kind of opinion. We should all be together. We should respect human life. I have seen deaths and deaths and deaths, of stupid. In Yugoslavia, let's say, there were brothers against brothers. There was one country, and I couldn't believe, that people were so divided, and that only in the beginning, already 350,000 people just died, in this country. So, yeah, there is a way out, and I believe very strong in this project. I have talked with lots of my friends. Some agree and some not, but you cannot force the message. That's for now my opinion about this wonderful project, this global event. To stick together, that scientists are not bounded just on the national state, that scientists can come together and solve lots of problems throughout the earth. That's our home, and there is no other alternative. There is only one way out, and which is the creative society.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And I would like to add one very important detail, that forum was initiated and organized by volunteers, by people who dedicate their time, their effort, their resources for the benefits of the society. And all the information that was presented on this forum, it's unique in this case, that thousands and thousands of volunteers from 180 countries did enormous research in order to present the information in the most easy way, in the most visual way, for everybody to understand it, to understand the importance of that moment that we live right now. Because now we are facing global crisis, global challenging in every part of the world. And right now, we're also blessed with the technology that help us to unite people. And Creative Society is a unique platform that can truly unite everybody right now in order to save the humanity. So, Stephen and Peter, I would like you to emphasize the crises that we have in our society, and let's talk about the solution. Why right now is so important to realize the situation in which we live right now and to learn about the solution.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the biggest things for me that was at the forefront of my interest was the 8 pillars that society would be built on, and the fact that we do have these, fundamental pillars, so to speak, now, not the same as the creative society, but unfortunately they've been, the laws that have been built on top of them really only benefit a few, and those few even have the option to bend the laws without any sort of repercussion. And it's kind of like we're all, and I speak from my perspective in the United States. I'm sure that it's very similar around the rest of the world, but it's almost as if, you know, your average person has to sit back and be bullied and watch the people they care about also be bullied. And whenever we try and, you know, speak out or come up with a solution, the very system itself just kind of keeps us on this hamster wheel of repeating the same patterns. And I think we're reaching a time right now where the pattern has been so cyclical that even somebody that isn't paying attention is starting to notice. Those of us that have been paying attention have been noticing for, you know, almost our entire adult lifetime. But the 8 pillars are such an amazing thing for me because, especially, you know, the obviously the first one being human life, but one that speaks to me for my profession is human safety, and understanding that from my perspective as a health coach or you know, somebody that runs a school with you know, 150 to 200 people, I get to hear a lot of common stories from, you know, your average American and what it is that they're going through. And I run a jiu-jitsu school. So the culture within the school is very much after training. It's a very social atmosphere. And because of the practice, people feel like they can really let their boundaries down and talk about what it is that's actually bothering them, or just have genuine conversations. And the fact that, you know, one of the reasons I became a health coach was growing up as a kid, watching my family suffer from constant health issues. And, you know, when your average person is spending their time, maybe 40 to 60 hours a week, working, you know, long hours that stress them out, it doesn't really give anybody time to focus on nourishing themselves in ways that maintain human homeostasis. It's really brings us to this threshold of stress that then induces all sorts of disease, not realizing the same people that created the system that cause us to work 40 to 60 hours are the same people that are benefiting from the medicine to heal from those side effects, are the same people that are providing the actual food that also induces those same side effects. So we're essentially stuck in this funnel of handing over our money to these people that are not only in control of, you know, the way society is structured, but they're also in control to, you know, the whole idea. I think an easy way to explain it is a problem, a reaction, and then a solution, right? So say, for example, you know, life is expensive, so let's supply people cheap food, right? And that cheap food is what makes people sick. And then that is the problem. Well, let's make people feel like they have an easy way, right? Like a magic pill to get better. And we'll provide them a solution, which is, you know, what we see as modern healthcare, which only keeps people handing over more of their money, maintaining their illnesses, and essentially becoming a slave to, you know, the modern medical industry, which I've experienced firsthand, luckily not personally, but seeing my loved ones and seeing my friends, you know, deal with this sort of issue. Meanwhile, you know, the Creative Society is offering not only technology, but farming solutions that not only would keep people healthy, but could easily feed everybody and kind of pull us out of this endless loop that humanity is stuck in. And we just haven't been provided any sort of solution in terms of medical or in terms of nutrition-based healing that is actually quite simple. And we have the technology to do it. It's just the people that are at the forefront of these industries are not willing to give up their power or their control. And they know that it's making us sick, right? So for me, that's the equivalent of watching, you know, if I were to see somebody in a street fight, or someone being bullied in person, that would be like me, you know, just sitting by and watching it happen and be like, oh, that's too bad. You know, like no one in their right mind would act that way. They would obviously step in. So the Creative Society seems to just be an amazing solution for your average person that deals with a lot of illness and a lot of stress in their life.
Well, Steven, on one side, yeah, but on the second one, I would even disagree with you that you're saying that top 1% wouldn't let the power go. There is not even a request from majority of the population. Therefore, those who are winning in the system, they don't even have reasons to change anything. And that's what's the most shocking, that we've been presenting this project for years and years. And, you know, I think the most intelligent people in the world are joining and speaking up, like yourself, like Peter, and like others. But we're really shocked to see that takes so much effort to really save the humanity and to offer them the solution and to make them realize. And we've seen the comments, we've seen, like I'm sure you've seen when we have politicians even standing up saying, we're going to implement the Creative Society. And what they hear, some smearing words, tags, communist, people are so used to the consumerist format that for them it's even hard to believe that there is something different in there. And there is some kind of laziness in approach to study it. We're reaching out to the people. We're saying, hey guys, just discover it. And people are very skeptical because they used to be tricked and fooled in the system for too many times. And that's why I would like to thank you so much for, you know, making videos on your TikToks, explaining in details what is it that Robbie Wells is standing for, what is it that Creative Society is standing for. And I think many people will get in-depth understandings from people like yourself who did the research, who invested so much time and efforts into understanding what the project is. Because it really all depends on people, on grassroots. It has to be a grassroots movement. There is no way that these guys from Creative Society are gonna change anything. No, these guys presenting you the information, and these guys are you guys. So, I'm super happy that we have Peter, who just, like, you know, saw the TikTok and hopped on the project, and there you are. And like yourself, you said that the conflicts have been going and so many people lost their lives. And, you know, why do you think it is that people so willingly put themselves into like, you know, willing to risk their lives for something, but not willing to simply speak up when it comes to something that is so beneficial and can be implemented within the law frame of each country? The laws are there. Where is the demand from the people, Peter? Why do you think it's so hard for the people to start speaking up? And what could make them move into, you know, have a little bit more faith into themselves?
Well, I always started in my old blog. I always started, God created the world, and human beings created borders. You know, it's a 6,000 years and maybe more, some kind of a brainwashing. And I'm happy also to say that I know a lot about alternatives, you know, in health. I did a lot of work in California years ago with famous doctors doing, you know, scientists that proved that, you know, that antibiotic is not helping. You know, we're just behind in the race. You know, we're the people. But let's go now first to the big event of the earthquake in Turkey and in Syria, because I'm 1 hour drive from the Turkish border. And in fact, I felt it, you know, not very well, but I felt it, you know. I'm a long way still to the south of Turkey, and of course to the border of Syria. I'm scared. I'm scared. And if we, for example, as a war journalist or a war reporter, call me whatever you want, I tried always, to see the sense of it all. And in the war, thank you again for this question. You asked me what I feel, because there is no sense in it. We're just running back. There is absolutely no way that we can solve the problems with wars. Let me tell you another thing. I always said, if we spent 1%, just 1% of the money we spent on weapons, we would beat cancer. We would beat so many today diseases like Alzheimer, diabetics. It's unbelievable, and there are so many already professors. They offered already with their own research. They offer, alternative to heal the people. And can you imagine, and this is for the viewers who are watching now, can you imagine when the global scientists are joining each other? No more firewall between them, So, we can live 1,500 years. That is a way, if we can just put the effort together. And that's why the first pillar now, the first phase to tell everybody about, the creative society, that is the first main thing. So if we spend, for example, I like TikTok, if I spend, for example, of course, I spend more time, but I would like to ask the viewers to spend, let's say, 15 minutes a day, inviting and telling the message, don't only just, tell the doom scenario, tell there is a way out, we can do it. We survived, if we look back in history, yesterday I was watching an amazing video from the Creative Society about, the old Atlantis and all these other things, the connection between South America, the Egypt, and all these things. It's amazing. So I would like to ask the viewers to not just to, criticize. If you want to criticize us, then do it with the knowledge that you watched, that you watched the videos. And then come with facts. So I'm sure the one who is hosting, he can then better answer you, if you already are aware what the, creative society is about. It's not a world order, we're not dictators or, we're not going to condemn religions or everybody. We respect, I love the Creative Society because they put number one, the interests of each and every human beings. And I have traveled. I saw poverty. I've been in the Philippines, I saw little children laying on the street, no food, nothing else. Can you imagine if we can change this, how many people we can make happy, just to have a steady income, housing, health, no tax paying, and goodbye to the corruption. I'm not believing, it will happen soon. There will be criminals still, but the end of all this, we will come all together and we will have a nice life together.
Thank you so much, Peter. Indeed, Creative Society, it's the paradise for every single person on earth. Not paradise for every single person on earth. Not only for a select few, but for everybody. And it is extremely important, and we will repeat it many, many times through our today's broadcast, to share the information, to give this opportunity to people to learn about this project, to learn about the simplicity of the steps that we can take all together in order to implement this new format in a most peaceful way, using the legal instrument that already available in all countries. And definitely, we will have a transitional period, but it only will last for 5 till 6 years. And then, but already in this period, transitional period, we all will be able to enjoy all the benefits that you just said, Peter. But after that, the world will change forever. That will be the world that you basically were able to see in the forum, the world with technology that very difficult to imagine right now, matter replicator, capsule that will not only to make our body healthy, but also to prolongate our life. We will be able to live beautiful life for 1500 years, and we will be able to go out of space and explore other planets. So that will be completely different world. That will be shift of the paradigm. That will be next step of the development for our civilization. And the steps that we need to take right now in order to achieve all this are very, very simple. And right now, I would like to invite you to watch this short excerpt from the video that we presented on the forum. And later, let's discuss how we will make this world our reality.
الحياة مثل لعبة الشطرنج، يمكن أن تتحرك البادق فقط للأمام في وقت واحد، وغالبا ما يتم التضحية بها. يمكن أن يتحرك الفارس على شكل آل، ويمكن أن يتفوق بذكاء على الآخرين، في حين أن الملك لديه القدرة على التحرك في جميع أنحاء اللوحة. نحتاج على القواعد ومتابعة لعبة واحدة بطاعة الشيء نفسه يحدث في المجتمع. لقد عرض علينا العديد من السياسيين للاختيار فيما بينها. نعتقد أننا نختار، لكننا نصوت فقط لأولئك الذين يتم ترشحهم. نعطيهم القوة الكاملة على حياتنا. نصبح بيادق. بمجرد أن يحصل السياسيون على السلطة فإنهم يرتابون الحروب والأزمات ويضحون بنا، ومع ذلك فإننا ندعم بتكرار عبارات محفوظة بصوت عال، أو نناقش وندعم الآخرين والسياسيين الجدد ونمكنهم، ويتكرر كل شيء. نحن مقتنعون بعدم وجود نماذج قابلة للحياة للتنظيم الذاتي للمجتمع دون سلطة. لكن أليس مثل هذا النموذج في الواقع، أم أنه فقط أولئك الذين يدعون ذلك لا يعرفون ذلك؟ ومع ذلك ماذا لو قمنا بتغيير الظروف؟ توقفوا عن اللعب وبدء في العيش. كيف سيبدو العالم حيث يسيطر الناس على حياتهم، ومنظمون ذاتيا أحرار وأعين في خياراتهم؟ ليس فقط مجموعات صغيرة فردية، ولكن جميع 8 مليارات شخص على هذا الكوكب. هناك مثل هذا النموذج ويسمى المجتمع الإبداعي. دعونا نرى كيف سيبدو.
المجتمع الإبداعي، الفترة الانتقالية. لعدة سنوات كان المتطوعون ينشرون معلومات حول شكل جديد تماما من المجتمع في جميع أنحاء العالم، وبعد ذلك قام الناس في جميع أنحاء الكوكب بإجراء استفتاء دولي تم فيه اعتماد التنسيق الإبداعي للمجتمع تقريبا. أدى ذلك إلى تغييرات كبيرة في العلاقات بين الناس وعلى الكوكب ككل. توقف جميع الأزمات والحروب التي تم إنشاؤها بشكل مصطنع. تم حل مشكلة الجوع في غضون فترة زمنية قصيرة. لأن حياة الإنسان أصبحت القيمة الرئيسية في الشكل الجديد للمجتمع. أحدث التقنيات المتقدمة التي لم يكن من الممكن الوصول إليها للأشخاص بتنسيق المستهلك قد تم تقديمها في كل مكان. تم تزويد الجميع بحزمة اجتماعية تتضمن مسكنا حديثا يبلغ مساحته 60 مترا مربعا للشخص الواحد، ودخل أساسي غير مشروط يعادل 10,000 دولار أمريكي شهريا. يتم تلبية جميع الاحتياجات الأساسية لكل شخص بالكامل، لكن الشيء الرئيسي الذي اكتسبه كل واحد منا هو الحق في الاستماع. لقد انتقلنا إلى شكل جديد تماما من صنع القرار، الحكم الذاتي. في المجتمع الإبداعي لم يعد هناك رؤساء أو برلمانات ناهيك عن الدكتاتوريين، لا يوجد سوى أشخاص، وصوت كل شخص مهم بنفس القدر عند اتخاذ القرار.
أمي، هل تقرر كل شيء الآن مثلما فعل الرؤساء من قبل؟
لم يعد هناك رؤساء من أي نوع بعد الآن حبيبتي. أنا إنسان مثلك تماما، والآن لا يوجد أحد فوق الناس، لذلك يقرر الناس أنفسهم كل شيء.
هل هذا يعني أنه يمكنك تغيير أي شيء في العالم؟
حسنا، ليس حقا. رأيي لا يقل أهمية عن آراء المليارات من البالغين الآخرين على هذا الكوكب، لكن شخصا واحدا بغض النظر عن من هو لا يمكنه الترويج لمشروع يحبه هو نفسه، والذي لا يرضيه معظم الناس.
لماذا؟
لأن الأغلبية يجب أن تصوت لصالحها.
إن الحكم الذاتي للمجتمع يعني أننا كمجتمع نقرر بأغلبية التصويت ما إذا كان هناك شيء ما سيحدث أم لا. إن الحكم الذاتي ليس غياب الإدارة أو التخطيط المختص، بل هو غياب السلطة، على الرغم من أن وظيفتها مشتركة على قدم المساواة بين جميع الناس. يصبح التصويت للمشروع حق كل شخص بالغ على هذا الكوكب، والميزة هي أن الناس أنفسهم يطمحون إلى تحسين الظروف المعيشية في المجتمع. يصبح من جريمة تغيير شيء ما في حياة الناس دون أن يسألهم. لممارسة سلطة الناس نستخدم أداة مثل المنصة الانتخابية. إن في الأساس موقع ويب يسمح للأشخاص من جميع أنحاء العالم بتبني القرارات بشفافية وبسرعة. إذا تم تقديم قضية عالمية للتصويت فيجب على الأشخاص من جميع أنحاء العالم المشاركة في التصويت. إذا كانت القضية محلية فيجب على سكان منطقة ذات صلة والتي تتأثر حياتهم بتبني هذا القانون التصويت. على سبيل المثال، إذا كانت هناك مشكلة في القرية يتم حلها في القرية. إذا كانت القضية إقليمية يتم حلها في المنطقة. وبالتالي هناك الحكم الذاتي المحلي وكذلك العالمي الذي ينطبق على العالم كله. يتم كتابة كل اقتراح قانون بالغة بسيطة ومفهومة للناس. يجب على الخبراء إعداد مشروع قانون وشرح النتائج المتوقعة، إيجابيات وسلبيات تنفيذها، ما الذي سيتغير للفرد، وكيف سيؤثر القانون على حياته.
Challenge on the way to explaining people what is it, because this was self-explanatory to the max, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with you. It is pretty self-explanatory, and I think that it's so simple that, being that we come from a world that, you know, of subjective morality, where, you know, we're told that certain laws are okay in one place versus they're not okay in another place, and these laws are, you know, stand true for these groups of people, but these laws don't stand true to these groups of people, where we've kind of been, it's confusing, the world that we're living in right now, because you know, we're told that right is wrong and wrong is right, and now, you know, 4-year-olds can decide whether whatever sex they want to be, and it's so I think it's intentionally planned to make things confusing, especially for those future generations, because the more confused they are, the easier it is to implement whatever laws you want in whatever way you want to implement them. So I think people's initial reaction might be that oh no, that sounds too good to be true, right? Because they compare it to the world that we're currently living in, and the framework that they've been conditioned to think in. It doesn't, the electoral platform or self-governance is the exact opposite of the way we've been taught to think. So to see that and then operating under that framework, to see it, I think that a lot of people will, think that it's not possible, right? Meanwhile, those might be people, and this comes from my health coaching experience, that I know that a lot of people feel like they don't have control over their life. There's a deeper longing for them to do certain things, and they tell themselves that they can't do it. And that thought alone kind of gets people comfortable with not pursuing their own life changes. So to hear that it's possible that we could pursue global change almost seems like a little far-fetched to them, and that's sad for me. That's sad for me, because I don't want to see, for me, the creative society and my health coaching business is really to see people take their power back. And feel confident in themselves, and take their health back, and take, their life back, essentially. And, I think that we've been beaten, and we've been broken to the point where, we don't even start to consider the fact that we can change. And I think that's exactly the point of the current system, right? Because if you can get people to stop believing that change is possible, then you're allowed to keep that framework that you've built for them for God knows how long into the future, right? So to see that it is very simple, right? And that we all can very easily, especially with today's technology, have our words be heard, right? But in the current framework, are our words heard? No, they're not, right? And that's because we're relying on the people that benefit for the system to make our decisions for us. And I think that's where our mentality really needs to change. We need to look inside ourselves and ask ourselves if we are willing to take the responsibility on making these decisions, or if we want to just sit back and, watch, for a lack of a better word, our owners to make these decisions for us and stay in the position that we're currently in. And that's a big question that a lot of people don't have time to contemplate, again, because of the way the system is built. So I think that this is this gets me so excited, because I thrive off seeing people take their power back. It makes me really happy to hear that there's a solution where we all can make our own decision. And I think, if people start to talk to other people, they'll find, regardless of which country you're from, right? A human has we all have a soul, and we all have this inner longing to thrive. Hence my subtle programming here. I use this t-shirt for a reason, but I think that, we have, if we use such technology as the electoral platform, we'll be very surprised about how we all actually do want the same thing. And things will move in such an incredibly fast pace towards what we've always known that we wanted. And that change will come a lot faster than we expect. And eventually that mindset of people thinking that they have no power will eventually, it'll change. And, sky's the limit at that point.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you, and wanted to add that the process of growing up, us as individuals and us as a society as the whole, is the process of taking the responsibility and recognizing it and be able to practice it. Because once again, so we need to understand that like very clearly. So if we will not take this responsibility and start to act, somebody else will do it for us. And for the past 6,000 years, we see how it goes. So it will not benefit us. But we people, we really would like to live in a beautiful world, striving world, prosperous world, peaceful world, right? So we need to take this responsibility and build it. And the self-governance concept is the key concept of the creative society. That's the fundamental difference from the consumerist format in which we shift responsibility, like you mentioned, Tim. And I would like to ask Peter, so how do you think self-governance will change our world? How self-governance will end all these terrible things that unfortunately you were witnessed in the 90s, the wars, the crises, how that will fix our society? What do you think?
Well, that's the only way, because, like Steve already told us, it's the only way we can proceed, because now the politicians, are doing things and promising things, and when they are elected, we cannot call them, we cannot call them back. We cannot say, come on, move away. We have this everywhere. For example, let's say, how many simple things, we could already do. Everybody knows the catastrophic of people dying in small boats, people making money of refugees from African countries. Well, for example, Africa should be one of the richest nations in the world, because they have all the resources. They have gold, they have diamonds, they have all kinds of things which we will need in the future, And it is so ridiculous to see that now we consider Africa like a third world country. They are not a world country. We depress them. We, with colonizing, with typical stealing from Africa, Let me try another thing to say. For example, if we would like to solve the problems of refugees, why not give them a vote? And everybody has his own right to vote against or for a certain thing. So we are in charge. There is no, a global movement that will depress us, that will take our lives away. It is ridiculous for those who are still in critics. Yes, I can understand your concern, because we are all, me too, I'm brainwashed. It took me a long time to free myself from all this. Banks collapsing, pharmaceutical big concerns about health, take billions and billions, to make us hooked on their therapy, their medications, So if we can just, have the right to vote, for example, it is quite simple, because as more people will join the pillars, the pillars of the creative society, and they will agree, the politician has to, listen to the people, and you will see there will come new political parties, that will be that will show sympathy towards the creative society. You will see this can happen sooner as we think, but of course we need this global. And there's a lot of work to do. Again, I urge all these people, to spend these 15 minutes or 20 minutes to send those links to your friends, your family, just to have, to wake them up. I used to say, there are flatlanders, and there are free thinkers, Flatlanders, they don't see a third dimension. They see everything flat. They don't see even colors, But let's wake them up, and to show them the alternative on a loving and a peaceful transition, that the world can change. And again, how many times did I say to all of my friends and family, there is a way out. It's up to us all. We cannot hide away. We cannot put our head in the sand and said, okay, this all will flow over. It will not. It will come somewhere, as there are many videos about this issue on the website, on creativesociety.com. That this is happening, let's say each and 12,000 years. So let's be prepared. Let's find a safe place. Let's organize together. Let's put the hands together. Let's not fight against each other. We all have a vote, as the video already said. We can vote on a local, national, and global issues. We all have rights. Each and every human being is as important as we all. We can beat this. We can, save this planet. We can change and implement a new economic system that will have prosperity, health, happiness for all of us. It is not a science fiction, It is real. And there, again, as I started my first comment on this video, on this broadcast, there are only two alternatives: is to die, to be a slave again, or be free from the chains, from the ball and chains. Let's cut this off. Let's give the scientists. Let's give them, the tools to discuss together. Let's help the economists how everything can and should work for all of us. No more poverties. So there are no more, refugees paying $2,000-$3,000 in a broken boat, with a 25 horsepower broken engine, dying on the sea, trying to come to Italy or to the West, or let's say on the borders of the US, from Middle South America and Mexico, because we all will have a steady income. We have 65 square meter housing, if needed, maybe more. We have a guarantee that this house will be ours. We'll not have to pay for expensive energy bills, that comes from fossil, dirty things, and that makes, big companies only richer and more meaner, more rude. So there is a way out. The tools are here. The know-how is nothing new. From 100 years, a century ago, they were already killed. People with alternative ways of means of energy. So let's do it all together. Let's not fight each other. Let's help each other.
Oh, absolutely, Peter. I agree with you 100%. We cannot keep on fighting each other. And, we cannot keep on fighting not only against each other, but against problems of the consumerist format. As you said, the illegal immigration, or fossil fuel problems, or healthcare problems, as Steven mentioned before. endless problems. If we're gonna keep on fighting problems of the consumerist format, targeting them one by one, we're gonna spend our lifetimes and we're never gonna solve any of them. That is the problem. It doesn't make sense to keep on fighting against something. The only way to solve something is to build the alternative. We're not even paying our attention at fighting something. World elites, WEF, health organization, that doesn't matter. We have to build an alternative and be very focused. You know, like that, like Seabiscuit horse with your with your blinders on. You focused on your goal. You're running for it, and you don't see what's happening on the left, on the right. That is the only way we can do it, and the way to do it is through taking action. And you know, the biggest change when it comes to taking action that was brought up at this forum was the thing that many of the politicians and the volunteers of the Creative Society project have voiced. Self-organizing coordination centers where you are, and it doesn't matter where you are. Is it state, country, or city level? You can self-organize, and what it takes to take it. Stephen, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your perspective on organizing self-coordination centers, and what is it in fact? What are those coordination centers, and why do you think people should or should not organize those?
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of momentum as those centers get built, only because the side effect of being surrounded by a group is really it's a different experience than hearing people talk through TikTok, or even, you know, to all the viewers that are watching this right now, you know, if, let's say, for example, all the viewers that were watching this right now were actually in an auditorium listening to all the speakers sitting on a stage. And then after the conversation, you know, the people in the auditorium were allowed to ask questions and allowed to speak to us face to face, and really get that sense of human connection and community, because that really builds it builds a different it builds a different energy around the goal, right? And when that goal is shared by a common group of people, say for example, in my school, right, we are all striving to get better at jujitsu, right? But the thing is because there's a common goal, you very often will never know if the person that you're fighting is a construction worker, is a teacher, is a garbage man, or a scientist, or you know, just a college student with no job, or right, like those things aren't important, because we're all here. We're all on the mat for the same reason, and that's to get better at jujitsu. So when you have that group, you know, that group mindset and that group goal, right, there are certain barriers that get broken down very, very easily without people even realizing it. So by the people of the Creative Society coming together and meeting each other, right, and realizing like, oh, I'm not talking to somebody on a screen, I'm talking to another human just like me, right? And you don't really care what like, for example, I just met up with a few people from the Creative Society in New York City, and I'm about an hour and a half outside New York City. I'm on Long Island, so I took the train and went in to meet them. And you know, like we didn't even really talk about our personal lives. They didn't really care about my profession, or you know, some other barriers about my political preference, or you know, what type of TV shows I watch, or right, like we stayed focused on the Creative Society, and we shared a bond that you know, we all have an image of what we know the world could be like, and by sharing that image, you propel momentum into making that image a reality by putting your attention on it. And the more of us that put our our time and attention into this image of what we want to see the world like, the faster that manifests into, you know, our world. So the importance of these community centers, and I am more than happy to open my doors to anybody on Long Island that's looking to discuss about the Creative Society, and you know, whether it's how we can spread this word faster, or even just coming into maybe some of the common themes that people that first step foot into the Creative Society have either troubles with, or thoughts about, you know, spreading the word, because there could be some common misunderstandings that we come across with our friends or our family members, or, you know, even strangers, and how to approach certain situations. So, you know, I do know that when people come together with that shared goal in person, I really do think it makes a big difference, because, you know, an international discussion like this is great, right? But as I mentioned earlier, right, when we're together, right, and you shake each other's hand and you look each other in the eye, and like, it becomes such a different experience. And I know that our modern day culture has become so accustomed to being able to look at somebody on a screen and make your judgments about them, and even be a keyboard warrior, and maybe, you know, say things that aren't so nice that you would never say if you were in person, right? So I think that there's so many benefits to that, and I know that I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of the members of the Creative Society in New York in the future.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And dear viewers, if you already ready to act and ready to realize your responsibility, you would like to inform people about the Creative Society, about its benefits, and work together and open the coordination center, please send us your email on to our contact information that you will see right now on the screen below, and we will make sure that we will set up a call and discuss it with you in order to explain how easy to do that. So, dear guest, thank you so much for today's discussion. It was very informative and very helpful, very helpful to our viewers to understand the concept of Creative Society, to understand the simplicity and beauty, and what we people can do right now in order to fix all the problem. And like Tali said today, so we need to focus all our attention not to fight the system, to fight all the crises, but to focus our attention on fixing the root of the problems and change the format from the consumer-oriented format to a creative one in which human life is the highest values. Each human is valuable, and that's why the world will be completely different. So let's work together, let's stay in touch and build the Creative Society.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.